Never Stop Learning, week 164. We're going to take a quick look at how to arrange your layer stack in Adobe Photoshop CC 2014. So here I have this document open. I've got a couple layers there and a background. Over on the right, I have my layers panel open, but if you don't see your layers panel up, just come over to the window menu, scroll down till you find layers, and click on that once. Alright, I'm not going to click on it because I already have them up, so that would just hide my panel. Alright, so right here you see I got 1, 2, 3 different layers, and at the bottom I have this background. Now technically this background is not a layer, but you're always going to find it at the bottom of the stack. Alright, so if I want to target one of these guys, all I have to do is hover over it, click on it once, and now this is being targeted. If I want to target the gradient fill, just come over here, click on it, and now it's targeted. Same for the layer 1 and for this type layer. I'm going to leave the background targeted, and we'll come back over here into this document. Now I want to activate my move tool, so I'm going to hit the V key, and when I'm in this tool, if I right click anywhere in my document, it brings me this little flyout menu. It's showing me 2 of my layers, and it even brought over the background, so that's pretty cool. What I thought was interesting is it's not showing me this type layer, but that's just because I can't make any edits to it unless I'm in the type tool. Alright, so if I want to target layer 1, I just got to come over here, hover over it, click on it once, and now over here in my layers panel, you see layer 1 is being targeted. If I want to target the background, I'll just right click, find background, click on it once, and now it's being targeted over here in my layers panel. We also have some keyboard shortcuts associated with this. So we're mostly going to be using the option key and the open and close brackets. So if I hold down option and then use the close brackets, you see it now it's targeting the layer above the previously targeted layer. So right now that I'm targeting layer 1, I want to target the gradient fill. So I'm going to hold down option, close bracket. Now the gradient fill is targeted. If I want to target that type layer, hold down option, close bracket, and now I'm at the top of the stack. If I want to go back down, I'm going to hold down option and the open bracket. Every time I do that, you see it moves down one location. Now that I'm at the bottom of the stack, if I hold down option and hit open bracket, all it does is bring me back to the top of the stack. So we'll do that, and it just cycles all the way through. The same were to happen if I were to go all the way to the top, it just brings me right back to the bottom again. Alright, great. So now that we did that, if we introduce the shift key, we're going to start selecting different layers at the same time. So I'm going to hold down option, shift, close bracket. Now we have both layer 1 and the background targeted. I'm going to hit close bracket again and again. And now I have every single item in my layers panel targeted. Alright, so if I only want to target the item at the bottom of the stack, I'm going to hold down option, comma, and that's going to bring me to the very bottom of the stack. If I want to target the item at the very top of the stack, I'm going to hold down option and then period, and that's going to bring me all the way up to the top. Alright, so if I want to select all of them, I could hold down command option A, and now I have every single layer targeted in the layers panel except for the background, because again, technically the background is not a layer, so it's going to ignore that guy. I want to target my background, so I'm going to hold down option, comma. Alright, now we're going to start talking about how to move the position of these items in the layers panel. Alright, so currently I have my background targeted, so if I were to come over here, click and drag. Once I start going up, you see my cursor changes, and it's letting me know that I cannot change the position of the background. Again, because it's technically not a layer. But if I come to layer 1, click and drag, all of a sudden I'll get this little highlighted bar. Once I release, now I've changed the position of this layer. If I want to bring it to the top of the stack, I'll click and drag. Once I see that little highlight, that tells me I could release. And now layer 1 has moved above the gradient fill and above this text layer. So if I want to move it right back down here, I'll just click and drag. Once I see that highlighted bar, I could go ahead and release. Now I cannot bring it to the bottom of the stack because we currently have a background right here. The background always has to be at the bottom of the stack. Alright, so we're able to do this manually, but we also have some commands over here. If we come back to the top, we'll find layer, scroll down till you find arrange, and in here we could either bring it to the front or bring it forward. Now if we bring it forward, I'll click on it so you can see what happens. Take a look at the layers panel. When I click on it, it's moved that layer up one position. Alright, so we'll come back over here to layer, scroll down till you find Arrange. Now we have a lot more options. So let me just start at the top and we'll work our way down. Right here we have Bring to Front. So what that's going to do is it's going to skip as many layers as needed to bring it to the very top of the Layers panel, which means it's going to be in the front of your document. Over here it says Bring Forward. That brings it up one position in the Layers panel, which means it brings it forward one position in your document. Right here we have Send Backwards. So if I were to choose Send Backwards, it would bring it down one position in the Layers panel, which means the layer 1 would be below Gradient Fill 1. Or I could choose Send to Back. Now Send to Back is going to skip over as many layers as needed to bring it to the very bottom of the stack. I'm going to go ahead and choose this option. And you see it brought layer 1 all the way down to the bottom, but it could not bring it below the background because again, the background has to be at the bottom of the stack. Alright, so now that I showed you how to find that through the menu, we also have some keyboard shortcuts for that. So if I want to move layer 1 up one position, I'm going to start using my Command key. I'm on a Mac, so you'd use Control on a PC. And we'll go back to our open and close brackets. So if I want to move up one position, I'm going to use my close bracket. So when I hit Command close bracket, you see it moved it up one more position. But once we reach the top, if I hit Command close bracket, that's it. It just reached the top and it can't go any further. But if I want to move it down, I'm going to hit Command open bracket and that moves it down one position. And I'll hit Command open bracket and that moved it down one more position. Let's say I wanted layer 1 to move all the way to the top without having to stop at every single layer. All we have to do is introduce the Shift key. So I'm going to hit Command Shift close bracket. Now it brought layer 1 all the way to the top of that stack, which means it's in the front of the document. If I hit Command Shift open brackets, now it brought it to the bottom of the stack, but it couldn't bring it below the background. Now I keep talking about this background not being a real layer. Now if you want to turn it into a fully editable layer, it's really easy. All you have to do is come back over here. Now in most of the versions of Photoshop, this is how it works. You could double click right here in this area, you could double click in this background text, and you could double click right here on this thumbnail. Once you do that, it's going to bring up your new layer window. That's going to give you an opportunity to change the name of this layer. You could come over here and choose a color for the layer if you need it for organizing purposes. You could also come over here, change the blend mode, change the opacity, and once you have everything set, you choose OK, and now this is an actual editable layer. I can click and drag and change the position of the stacking order right here. So I'm going to undo this a couple steps by hitting Command Option Z and then Command Option Z again. And you see it brought this back to the right order and it even brought this back to a background. Because I'm in the Creative Cloud, we have a little update where if I come over to this lock, I'll click on it once and that automatically turns it into an editable layer. It's named it Layer 0. But it didn't give us any of those options of changing the blend mode or opacity. You could take care of that right here in the panel. Here are your blend modes, and this is your opacity. If you wanted to change the name of the layer, just double click right here on the text, and you could change this. So I'm going to change this to BG. Now before I accept that change, I'm going to hit Shift Tab. That's going to move me up one position. So I'll change this guy to Cement. Alright, so Shift Tab moves me up another one. I'll change this to Grad for Gradient. Shift Tab, now I'm at the very top. Now I don't want to change the name of this layer because I like that it reflects what's actually showing in my document, but I want to show you how to go back down. So I'll hit Tab, that brings me down one position, Tab, that brings me down, Tab, now I'm at the bottom of the stack. If I hit Tab again, it just brings me right back to the top. I can hit Shift Tab to move up or Tab alone to bring me back down. Once I've finished making the changes to the names of these layers, I could hit Enter or Return on my keyboard and I'm good to go. And there you have it, folks. That's how you arrange your layer stack in Adobe Photoshop CC 2014.